childhood memories. Some childhood memories burn brighter than others. Tim has a memory that is undimmed by the passing of time. Join him as he returns to his teens and to one of the most daring things he has ever tried. Let's welcome Tim Taylor with the speech title, Lord of the Flies.
Morning, Toastmasters.
All right, good.
My friend Jim screamed, "I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die." He walked out in the open and surrendered. The shooter had a perfect shot. He was only 10 feet away. I didn't want to die either. I was only 15 years old. I'm 60 now, and I don't want to die now either. When we first walked through this to the Camp Kaikima, a Boy Scout camp in Hardy, Arkansas, as you walk through the gate, there's a giant wooden sign tied between two trees with a loading dock right next door. Like every camp movie you've ever seen, camp is a war between the campers and the counselors. Words cannot describe the joy of disrupting the staff. 30 adolescent boys in the woods for 2 weeks is an experiment in anarchy. One of the fathers of one of our troop volunteered to be our scoutmaster for the 2 weeks because our scoutmaster couldn't make it. He sorely regretted that decision. Back then, we all went skinny dipping. Who has been skinny dipping? You know, I've heard on the news lately, they're going to start allowing girls to be in Boy Scouts. I don't know how that's going. The last night of the camp, there was a giant bonfire. All of the different scout troops, over 500 boys, came down to this bonfire. And they were giving out awards. Best troop, best spirit, best camper. Like Charlie Brown, our troop never won anything. If there was an award for don't come back, that's the one we would have won. Back to the bonfire. My friend Jim and I had this ingenious idea that we were going to go steal this giant camp sign. And during the bonfire, we were going to bring it down and present it to all the camp counselors. That would have been the culmination of our 2 weeks. We would have won. What were they going to do? Was throw us out? We were leaving the next day. On the way down to the bonfire, Jim and I peeled off into the woods, and we hid as everybody went down to the fire. We made our way, slinked our way back up to where the sign was, and we started to untie it. We looked around, there were no staff. It was as quiet as a graveyard. As we started to untie it, suddenly I hear, "Stand right there, don't move." I looked around, I didn't see anybody. Then I looked up on the roof of the loading dock, and there was a camp counselor standing there with a wrist rocket pulled all the way back and aimed right on my head. If you don't know what a wrist rocket is, imagine the marriage between a slingshot and a spear gun. And I could see the rock at the end of the slingshot, and it was about that big. Jim and I ran underneath the loading dock, and he was up on the roof. And he was running around, he was screaming for all the other staff counselors to come in and acquire us. And I looked behind us, and it was all woods. I said, "Jim, we got about 20 seconds, let's get out of here. If we run through the woods like this, there's no way you can hit both of us." And Jim's eyes got about that big around, and he just went, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot." And he came out and he gave up. The jig was up. The staff arrived and they marched us out into the woods. They marched us down to their camp and they tied us up to 2 trees. And there was a trail running in between us and we were staring at each other. I was so mad at Jim for giving up, I wouldn't even let him look at me. After about an hour, they came over with 2 bottles of maple syrup. They poured it all over us. One thing I learned is you cannot get syrup off your face just by shaking. After a few minutes, what happens in the summertime, in the darkness, with a light on you. What's attracted to sugar and light? Bugs. Big bugs, little bugs, they started landing all over us, and they got stuck in the syrup, and they couldn't get off. They're getting my eyes, and I was standing there like this. I got a licking on one of the staff counselors when he got too close. There was a maple syrup footprint right on the front of his pants. At least it couldn't get worse, right? The trail we were on was the trail that all of the scouts were going to come back to their respective camps. They must have told all of them what was going on. As they filed past, they were all silent. I felt like I'd been crucified along a Roman road. We were examples of what not to do. Our scoutmaster, the father who was being our scoutmaster for the 2 weeks, they eventually summoned him up, and he walked right past us, never made eye contact. And he negotiated our release, and they took us down to the showers after a little while, and we got a shower. And we couldn't put our clothes back on because they were covered in syrup. So we walked 1.5 miles back to our camp with nothing on but our tennis shoes. If you ever had a chance to do that, you get some very interesting bug bites. You know, these kind of experiences burn in your brain. My best friend to this day was that boy that got caught. In fact, I texted him on the way here and told him I was going to tell the story. When you go through something like that, you become bonded very well, and it's a lot of fun. You know, they say that humor is pain separated by time. And today, I do love again. Maybe, sure.